on reparenting yourself. It's been 30 days of dropping baggages, healing from traumas, and all of that. And today we are taking questions. I got a lot of questions during the course of this challenge. I got a lot of questions, but I'll take 10 questions only. 10 questions that came repeatedly. We are talking about dropping baggages. We are talking about reparenting ourselves. I was telling someone earlier today that, see, even as Christians, we are taught to be born again. To make the kingdom of God, we need to be born again. So it simply means that there is going to be a rebirth happening in your life if you want to get to a certain phase in your life. So reparenting yourself is you being born again. You were born, you were raised before, you were programmed, and those programming are not serving you. So what you want to do, you want to now reparent yourself. The programming that are not serving you, you want to drop them. You want to now install the ones that will serve you by yourself, for your children and for yourself. So before I even came here, I was just thinking about some of the things our parents did that are not serving us, that we need to learn, to unlearn and relearn, to do better. And I counted about 15. I was telling myself communication was 0. We need to reparent ourselves when it comes to communication, because for them it was sarcasm, it was threats, it was yelling, it was I said emotional regulations. Oh my God, it was an emergency, always an emergency. Something happens and they are reacting immediately. We need to unlearn that. I said to myself, emotional intelligence, nah, it was 0, because they did not even know what they were feeling. They did not even know that we were not responsible for how they were feeling. We're not there. They were, if they were having a bad day, we'll suffer it. So emotional intelligence was 0. I was telling myself conflict management. I said no, because all we meant was conflict. Violence was how they resolved issues. And a lot of us, we learned that. I was telling myself active listening. Even till today, if I have an issue with my sibling and my parents want to step in, they'll say, okay, what happened? Why are you angry? And I am talking to them, okay, this is actually what happened. This is why I'm angry. Before I can even finish my first phrase, you hear them say, it's okay, it's enough. And they just move to listening, to preaching. No, I'm not the only one on this table. Very many parents, very many adults, we are still on this table. Some of the things we deliberately need to unlearn. Showing affection, hey, no. Did they know how to show affection? Maybe after when they realize they are wrong. Sorry, repair, apology and repair. It's definitely no. Did your parents apologize to you? Because I don't remember my parents ever saying sorry. What about critical thinking? No, everything was just blind obedience for them. They were not able to think okay, why is this thing like this? Now, this is why very many Gen Zs today are asking questions, because some of us as parents, we learned these things and we have brought it into our parenting. I saw a boy yesterday talking about why he deconstructed himself from Christianity. He started asking questions, and he couldn't get answers. I was telling myself that if our parents had asked those questions, we probably would have gotten answers. They would have gotten answers, and we would have learned to ask questions. We probably would have gotten answers. So we would have learned to actually teach our children these things, so that they too will not deconstruct themselves. They will have the answers. What about foresight? Foresight, it was just what was they didn't see beyond what was obtainable in their time. So for very many parents, it was go to school, study, read, do this, no other thing. That they didn't see beyond the times they were. So but for us as parents, because we realized that was all they knew. They didn't do them because they were mean. They didn't do them because they didn't care about us. That was all they knew. They did them. And because now we are waking up, we say, no, they knew all of that. They raised us based on the knowledge they have. And we know better. Unfortunately, we have been wired. We have been programmed with what they know, because they raised us. the environment, part of it, everything. We have been wired. So, but we do not want to stop at this because we now know better. So what are we going to do? We realize that we are still impulsively parenting from how we were programmed. We are still impulsively reacting from what our parents knew, the best or the much they knew, and they raised us by. We are still parenting from that angle. So in reparenting yourself, we are saying no. They knew that it served them, they got the proof, they got the evidence, it served them, but it did not serve us. So we cannot allow it serve our children. We cannot even allow it, we can't pass it to our children because it did not serve us. And again, apart from our children, many of these things are sabotaging us. No, so we cannot let them keep sabotaging us. We don't have communication skills. Very many people see today. It's still, for them, it's still sarcasm. It's still threats. Many people still don't know how to resolve conflicts. It is why you see every single day on social media, wife abuse husband, husband abuse wife, guardian abuse children, just children bully other children, abuse other children. Why? Because communication skills, we do not have it. We were not taught, we are not learning. We don't want that for our children. We want to be intentional, and we have realized that for us to get to the place where we are able to teach this communicate and these skills that our parents lack to our children, we have to first of all have it in us, because you can't give what you don't have. So because we want to have it in us, before we have it in us, we want to review, look at ourselves, self-audit, see where we are coming from. Then we now drop those things that installed those things in us. We drop them, we deliberately learn new things so that we can teach our children what will now serve them, what is valid in their time. So it has been a journey of reparenting yourself. If you are just joining us for the first time, what you want to do is to subscribe to this channel. What you want to do is to copy the link and share. Another thing you want to do is to go back to our various classes. This is about the 5th class for this month, the 4th class for this month on reparenting yourself, dropping your childhood baggages. So you want to go back and watch other videos and learn. They are going to transform your parenting a great deal. Now, there's something I always say. It is not just about learning. No, it is one thing to learn. It is one thing to take action. Learning doesn't make any difference in your life if you are not taking action. So what you want to do is, after learning, you want to deliberately take action. It is why I always tell you, when you are coming to class, come with your writing materials, your pen and your paper. Take notes down, after which you commit to learning. Last week, I shared very powerful information, and I said to you, you must have an accountability partner, because your journey of reparenting yourself, you are born again, you are starting life afresh. Some of the things you used to do, you do not want to do them again because they will not serve your children. You know, you may think they are serving you, you are getting away with it. They may not serve your children. So what you want to do is, you want to have someone you can always okay, go back to last week and watch last week's video and know what we taught last week. So today is about answering questions. Some of the questions we got, I actually have quite a number of questions, but I just narrowed it down to 10. 10 commonest ones, 10 I feel every parent can easily resonate with, like it bothers us as parents generally. So I narrowed it down to 10. I will be taking them today. So before we go on, my name is Enimien Oruebor, and this is the Visionary Parent with Enimien Oruebor. The Visionary Parent is a parenting academy, a yearly parenting academy that empowers parents with skills, with knowledge, information, with confidence to raise the children they have. I was putting things down, some of the skills that parents didn't have. I said one of the skills they didn't have was awareness, self-awareness. They did not even know about themselves. So they didn't know, if they didn't know about themselves, they didn't know things like they didn't even understand their own baggages. They didn't know where they were coming from. They didn't understand their temperament. They didn't know the personality that has grown out of their temperament and how they were raised. If they didn't know that, so how did we expect them to understand us? So they too, they didn't know themselves. They were not self-aware. They still did not understand us as their children. So it was why for our parents, many of our parents, everything was one cap fits all. So every child had the same way of being raised. So some of us, we grew up being broken, while some of us also grew up being made. Because if you have 4 children, for example, you want to follow them the same way, you realize that the method you are using may work for some children, may not work for the other children. So the ones the method will work for, they will be made. While the ones the method will not work for, they will be broken. For our parents, they were not aware of these things. So in the Visionary Parents Academy, we start in January and we close for the year in December. So imagine one whole year in a vibrant community, a community where parents are actually willing to learn, willing to do better, willing to be held accountable. A community where you have 4 coaches, parents not holding back, feeling free to share. That imagine you in such a community, your parents will transform, and if you take action, I tell you, your parenting will definitely transform. The Visionary Parent Academy is closed for the year already because we opened in January and this is already half year gone. So, but we are already registering for 2027. So if you want to join us for 2027, what you want to do is to send a message. Ask me, how can you join us? You join us and you stay for the entire year from January to December, learning on learning, building confidence, growing, flourishing in your home, raising confident children. So send a message on how you can join us. Thank you. And if you have not subscribed, don't waste no time. Don't waste for that time. Subscribe immediately. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask your questions. I'll definitely answer your questions. Thank you. Once again, Enimien is my name, and I'm super delighted to be doing this. Okay, let's go. One of the first questions I got, one of the questions I have here is, what do I do when I feel myself boiling over, but have nowhere to go? So even when we do becoming an emotionally intelligent class, we do that every year too. I also get these questions because we always say that one of the things you actually want to do is step away. You are triggered, so you want to step away. You want to move away from that source of trigger, because the truth is, when you are angry, maybe you find yourself already reacting. It's hard for you to disconnect from that space you have created, your mental space and your physical space. So before you even get to that space where your anger now becomes uncontrollable, you want to move away from there. That's what we always say. Now, because I always say that, see, this is just the truth. We see people online, oh, this woman, she abused her word, she afflicted so much injury. I tell you, very many times, they did not intend to go that far. They did not intend to go that far. But sometimes when they get to that state of anger, intense anger, once they get there, going back will take the special grace of God to go back. It takes the special grace of God to leave that place, to go back from that place of intense anger. So it is why we always say, don't even get there at all. So there's something we call your cues. You know your body signs. You know when you are beginning to get angry, when you want to react. You already know it. So as soon as you realize, okay, I don't even wait for my body to start giving me signs, your physiological signs that you want to react. Maybe your chest start tightening or you start sweating. I don't wait to get there. Once I am more proactive. So once I get to a place, I realize, okay, this thing is capable of triggering me. This situation is likely going to trigger me. I want to, first of all, take a break, discontinue from that, disconnect from that situation so that it doesn't get to a place to trigger me. So now for very many parents, they will say, okay, what if I cannot move away immediately? What do you do? One of the things I always tell them that, see, when your tension is beginning to build in your body, like how I answered this parent, when tension is beginning to build in your body, if you cannot leave that physical space, you can change your body posture immediately. You know, when tension is beginning to build in your body, you will just see your body will just be rising. What you want to do is to quickly just do the opposite of it. Drop your shoulder, like slouch. Deliberately bring yourself to that place of relax. That place of relax, that place of relax, of laziness. Is it lazy now? For lack of better word, that place of relax, like slouch, just calm down. Take a deep breath, intentional deep breath. You know that place? You will realize there is magic in that deep breath. Oh my God, deep breath therapy. You have not carried it out when you are angry. Oh, please start doing it now. Start practicing it. Whenever you are angry, just take deliberate, slow breath 3 times. You will feel all that tension melting like magic. That is one thing you want to do. One first thing. Because we have been programmed, we have learned this thing over time. Just 1 month is not enough for us to unprogram ourselves. So what you want to do is to deliberately inhale and exhale 3 to 5 times. You realize that that tension will be eased. When you have eased yourself of that tension, then remind yourself, this is why mantra is super important. Remind yourself that it is not an emergency. It is not an emergency. Whether it's your spouse you are even angry at, it is not an emergency. It is not an emergency. Tell yourself that. It is only an emergency when it is literally an emergency. There is fire on the mountain. It's an emergency. The house is burning. It's an emergency. Someone's life is at stake, someone is going to get hurt now. Maybe a building is collapsing. It's an emergency. So get on your heels. But apart from that, it's not an emergency. So the first thing you want to do is to bring yourself to that state of relax. When you are relaxed, then you remind yourself, it is not an emergency. That is what you want to do. Now, the second question is, how do I handle the grief of wishing my own parent had done this work? Yes, very many times I've had people say to their parents, what kind of a rubbish family is this? What kind of a family is this? If you had made better choices, I probably would not have been here. I've shared this before. I know of a parent who is almost 60 years, who still blames her parents, her mom, for how her life turned out. So yes, because when you reparent yourself, when you want to drop your baggages, you take your mind back, you realize that your parents had a role to play. And very many times, our parents did not play the role they were supposed to play. So some people, especially some people who are not very forgiving, they will hold on to that. If my parents had done better, if they had made better choices, things probably wouldn't have been this way and all of that. One of the first things you want to know is your parents did the best they knew. They did what they knew, what they thought was best for you. I remember some time ago, I told my mom something she did that she did not even remember. So what happened? I just came back from school, I think university one of those days, and my dad said to me, was it in university? I don't remember. My dad just said to me that of all my children, you love books. You are the one that is most bookish. Is there a language like that? So don't worry. When you graduate, you are going to further your master's abroad. There's no problem. Before my dad could even finish saying those things, my mom just jumped in from somewhere. She was not in the picture. She was not where we're having this conversation. It was just like a passive conversation, not like, come sit down, let's talk. My mom just appeared from nowhere and she said, please leave her alone. It's her husband's house. She would do that one. She would do that one in her husband's house, So when I was now reminding my mom, years later, what she said, that I probably would have studied abroad, my master's abroad, see what she said. Guess what she said to me? She did what was best for me. She thought that was best for me. She didn't want a situation whereby maybe I will now go and study abroad. I will not think of marriage again. I will not marry and things like that. I will not come back and be looking for a husband. All those kind of things. That was it. So why am I saying this? To let you know that your parents, they did what they thought was best for you. The same way you are doing what you think is best for your children today. They also did what they thought was best for them, and what they thought was best for you, and what they thought was best for you was based on the knowledge they had, based on the information they had. Someone was telling me one time that she was very good with electronics, that her desire always was to go into, her desire as a child, she was to go into electronics. She was very good. She would just uncouple things, couple and all of that. They almost didn't repair something at home. So when she wanted to enter school, she wanted to go into engineering, but her parents said no, she must go into another course. That electronics was for women, was for men. So if you now go and study electronics, you will not be dragging with men. They will not, what they thought was best for you. That was what they did. The same way you are doing what you think is best for your child now. You are acquiring knowledge. You are deliberately doing what you think is best for your child. The same way our parents did what they thought it was best for us. They did what they thought was best for us. So please, whenever you are grieving, whenever you go back, you realize, oh, my parents did X, they did Y. If they had done things differently, it would have been a different ball game. Remember that they did what they knew best, what they thought was best for you. The same way you are doing what you think is best for your child. Question number 3. My child knows exactly which button to push. How do I desensitize them? Your child did not install those buttons, so your childhood did. Now this is why we are reparenting ourselves. So if your child does something and it triggers you, it's a communication. So one of the things you want to do, you actually want to ask yourself, why is this thing triggering me? Why does it trigger me so much? You need to understand it is actually because that thing is a trigger to you. Your child wants your attention. Sometimes children act because they want attention, whether young children, whether teenagers and all of that. They ask because they want attention. Now, if you give them attention, they will know what works. They know what works. So they will keep doing that thing. So when you make them feel that is not work, that does not work, they will stop. So maybe they want to have power over you. They know the button to press that will actually give them power over you. Like yesterday, I was telling my children, was it yesterday? I was telling my children that when someone makes you angry and you react, that person has a power over you. Because your life belongs to you. You have your own power over yourself. You are the one that is supposed to determine how you run your life. So I told them, but if someone makes you angry because you have told yourself, this is how I'm going to act. Now, if someone makes you act contrary to what you have told yourself or how you have told yourself you are going to act, that person has power over you. That person is now the one in control of you. You wake up in the morning, you write your attitude intentions for the day. Okay, today, this is my attitude intention. For my attitude, I'm going to X, Y, Z. And then you go to school, someone presses your button, and you are now doing A, B, C. What does that mean? You are not in control of yourself. That person is in control of you. So if your child wants power over you, they know the buttons to trigger, to press, and they will get what they want. So what do you want to do as a parent? You want to understand, why does this thing trigger me so much? And you want to deliberately take the power from them. That thing shouldn't trigger you. It is why you need to communicate expectations, set rules, talk to your children. That thing will not trigger you again. Be super intentional. One of the reasons why some certain behaviors trigger us is because we are not proactive when it comes to them. You just leave your child to behave anyhow they like, and they behave anyhow they like. And in the course of behaving anyhow they choose or anyhow they like, you jump in, you want to correct. So we are more corrective. We are more corrective than any other thing. When it comes to our discipline, we actually want to correct instead of being proactive. So, and when you are trying to correct, you realize that being intentional is more difficult when you are trying to correct. I'm trying to paint it, I'm trying to explain in such a manner that it will be easy for you to understand. Because when you want to correct, they will have done the thing. They would have pressed your button and then you are now reacting. But when you want to discipline, you want to train, you are proactive. You put structure in place before that thing happens. So when that thing happens, you already have a solution. You already have something to fall back on. So it is not you thinking. Because very many times what happens is that when our children behave or misbehave, we don't have solutions already. We have not planned what we are going to do. We don't have any idea how we are going to fix that behavior. So when they do something, we just respond based on our impulse from emptiness because we have not planned. But when you have your structure, you already have children, you know what they can do, you know what they are up to. You have sat down to say, okay, this is what is going to happen. We have even realized that this thing is not coming from my children. My children are not responsible for this. It's coming from somewhere, coming from my past. It is easy for you to say, okay, when they do this, this is what I'm going to do. This is I'm going to act, and this is what I am going to do. So that way, when they do that particular thing, you are not surprised. So you are not looking for how to deal with it. You just already know exactly what you are going to do, and you do it. Okay, so how do I handle the grief of wishing? Okay, I've answered that. How do I handle the grief of wishing my parents had done this work? I've explained that our parents did what they know best. What they knew best, rather. They did their very best. I always say there is no parent that actually want the child not to live a meaningful life. There is no parent that doesn't want a child to be sad, not to be happy. I have never seen, and I doubt if there's a parent like that. So our parents did what they knew. They actually desired that for us. They desired for us to be happy, to live meaningful lives. So everything they did was based on that, but based on the knowledge they have, based on the information they have. So they are very much excusable. But for you and I now that we are getting information, we are getting knowledge, I don't think we have any excuse. Oh. We don't have any excuse not to do better. Someone says, is it boundary test or genuine emotional overwhelm? When children test your boundaries, when they misbehave, sometimes it is boundary test, sometimes it is emotional overwhelm. Okay, I think I get this question. She was asking, how do you know if it is boundary test, or how do you know if your child is really emotionally overwhelmed? Now, this is why, first of all, you need to understand the child you have. When you understand your child, you know exactly how they respond to issues. Let me explain something to you. I was coming somewhere yesterday. My son is learning a skill somewhere, and he's learning a skill. The place he's using is a story building. So their class is in the first floor. That is the first floor. So coincidentally, yesterday I just walked past there. I was coming back, I saw him, and I said, "Hello, Noel." He just said to me, he just waved. I said, "Hello, mom." He just waved, and he didn't even smile. I think he just faked like, and he went inside. I knew definitely that there was something wrong. So when he came back, I didn't want to ask him. I just wanted him to talk. When he came back, he was telling me his oga was using hurtful words on him. I said, I knew that was it. That was definitely what was happening to him. So if you understand your children, you understand your child, you will know when they are overwhelmed. Because even you as an adult, you understand the things that overwhelm you. Like right now, I am here. I have something ongoing outside. The mechanic is using my car. So I'm trying to hurry up so that I can attend to him. I did not want to postpone this class or not have this class. It is why I came here. So I understand that kind of situation can actually overwhelm me, especially if I have kids around and they are dragging me here and there. It can overwhelm. So I go to church, I see parents also. Their children are crying. You don't know. You say, what do you want? I've given you this, I've given you that. They are crying. It could be that the children are highly stimulated. They are overwhelmed. Sometimes children genuinely, I always say, they genuinely, they are not misbehaving. It is not every time the child is, yes, they may not even know the right way to communicate how they feel or anything to us. They may not have the right way, especially because we have not taught them emotional intelligence. We have not taught them to be able to label their feelings. This is exactly how I'm feeling right now. We have not taught them. Sometimes they don't even know how they are feeling. So things happen and they just get overwhelmed. And like in church on Sunday, I was dealing with one of my teenagers. I was asking him because we bought drumsticks and I brought them to my house. And there was one day he came to my house. He literally was pressuring me. I want to use them. We want to use them. We want to use them. Eventually, I allowed my son to give him. He was giving. And we got to church the following Sunday. He didn't give us the drumsticks back. So I ignored him. And yesterday I saw him with some drumsticks. I took them from him. I said, Marvelous, give me these drumsticks. I'm using them to replace the one you took. And that upset him. So when I was talking to him, he just ignored. Like, I know the boy. He gets angry easily. And I am the one telling him that, you see, you have a very beautiful voice, an amazing voice. But you see, this anger you have, you don't have control over. If you don't work on your anger, it may be the weakness that will bring you down. You have a beautiful voice that when you sing, sometimes when they leave the teenagers church and go to the adults church, when he sings, sometimes you can see everyone is giving him a standing ovation. His voice with with certain songs can be almost like you are in heaven. So I was talking to him, he ignored me. I knew that. Why? Not because he wanted to disrespect me, but because he was angry. According to him, the drumsticks were for his school. So he was angry, so he didn't want to say something. So he kept quiet. And of course, to me, that was very rude. Why would I be talking to you, a teacher, and you ignore me? So very many times as parents, we need to be able to understand our children. There are times we think, oh, our children are rude because they don't want to talk. It is not because they are ignoring us, they are not responding to us. Now, they're actually ignoring us or not responding, not because they are rude, but because they are angry. Some children, they cry. When they are angry, they start crying. That is me, for example. When I'm angry, when I'm overwhelmed, when I'm pressured, cry is what I do. Cry. When I can't find the right words, when my heart is heavy, it's just cry. And I do. Sometimes when you see me shouting, maybe like I went to my daughter's PTA and I was trying to speak. They were not giving me the microphone. I needed to speak because parents were just talking about things that I felt there are very many things that we should be talking about, things that directly affect the children, that the teachers do or the schools do. We should talk about them. But very many times talking about money for this, money for that. And so they were not giving me the microphone. And I was vexed. I needed to talk. So my voice, my daughter said, I've never heard your voice like that. It was really scary. Because at that point, I was almost bursting. So that is it. So I was just at the top of my voice. When they heard my voice, they had to quickly give me the microphone because I needed to talk. And they were already wrapping up. Okay, no more questions. No more. I said, I must ask my questions today. Oh. And since people are not taking it, you don't want to listen to me calmly. I raise up my hand. My hand is getting old up. You are not ready for me. So I have to look for a way to get your attention. So that is me. I cry when I am overwhelmed. So you see your children sometimes too, when they do something, they are not really rude. They are just overwhelmed. Sometimes they are emotional. So as a parent, you understand your child. When you understand your child, you watch out for the environment. What is the environment saying? What is going on? This actually will help you understand when your child is testing your boundary and when your child is just overwhelmed. And sometimes it also depends on what the instructions, how your child is coming. When your child is testing your boundary now, when you have set this boundary and your child wants to know, okay, if you mean it, you have an idea as a parent. How do I stop over explaining my decision out of fear of being unfair? Now, this was one of the questions I got. Let me see. Okay, how do I stop over explaining decisions out of fear of being unfair? This is why we talk about being proactive in your parenting. It is why you don't make decisions on the spot. You already anticipate your child's behavior. You anticipate, what your child is capable of doing. You know your environment, your factors. So before your child even get to that point, you want to first of all sit down. If your kids are already growing like preteens and teens, you want to sit down and have rules and regulations, behavior contract with them. One of the things that will make you over explain if you are spontaneous in your discipline, like I said, your child does something, you just come up with the discipline. When you come up with the discipline, they now feel you are unfair. You now start explaining, it is for your own good. It was because you did this. If you had not done this, I wouldn't have done this. You see your fault. You were the one that pushed me. Actually, because your decision is spontaneous. So it is why you need to be proactive. You need to communicate to your child before something even happens. It is why you need your family constitution as a parent. And in the Visionary Parent Academy, we have a family constitution that covers about 60 expectations behavior expectations. So you need to have a family constitution. Your child knows exactly what to expect. So when you now take a decision, it is not you, it is the agreement. Let me give you a practical example. I think I've explained this over and over again. For a while now, my kids have not watched television. Why have they not watched television? Okay, we don't even watch television every day. We watch television only on weekends. So last weekend, we watched television, and I was the one watching TV. I was listening to some of my online mentors, listening to Pastor Christy Bature, Pastor Samade Yemi. I was listening to them, and they also listened to them along with me. So, but to say they want to watch their programs, no, they have not. Why? Because we already have a rule in the house that if you do not show responsibility towards something, that thing will be taken away from you. And I tell them it is how the real world works, because a family is a unit of the real world. I'm not raising you to remain in the family forever. You are going to grow. At 17, 16, 17, 18 at most, you even enter higher institution and you'll be away from the house. So I'm raising you, I'm nurturing skills in you that when you are away from the house, you can function independently without relying on me. You'll be able to know your right from your left without me being there, being in your face or interfering in your affairs. So we are not waiting for when you enter university or enter higher institution for you to start learning how do I navigate my way. No, we are preparing you now today with the skills to navigate your way when you get there. So I always tell them that the world, you thrive in the world when you are responsible. You can live effectively, function very well in the society when you are responsible, because you are going to have a boss tomorrow, and and the boss is not going to excuse your irresponsibility. You are going to have neighbors tomorrow. They are not going to excuse your irresponsibility. You are going to have employees tomorrow. They are not going to excuse your responsibility. You are going to have children. You are going to have a spouse. They are not going to excuse your responsibility. So because they are not going to excuse your responsibility, even you are subject to the government of wherever you are living. The government will not excuse your irresponsibility. So because of that, I am not excusing your responsibility so that you will know how to be responsible. So that day they were watching television and it was drizzling. It was about to rain and they forgot to bring their clothes in. When I got in, television was why they did not take responsibility. They were not responsible. So they didn't take responsibility because they were watching television. So what are we going to do? Based on what we already have, our existing rule, we are going to take the television away until such a time they can prove that they are ready to be responsible. It is not, oh, I'll take television away for a week or for 2 weeks. No, because it is training. Television did not make you responsible. So we are taking the television away until such a time you prove that you can use television responsibly. That is it. So did they come to tell me, mommy, that's not fair? They didn't come to tell me, mommy, that's not fair. You know why? Because we have had this conversation before. We have discussed this before. It was not just on the spot. It was not on the spot punishment. I did not just come up with it. Oh, you have done this. Because you have done this, I'm doing this. That was not it. We have sat down before. We have our values. Then we have our rules and regulations in the home. Not necessarily rules and regulations. We have our code of conduct. We have our expectations. And they are anchored. They are anchored on the values we have. And responsibility is our value, is a key value for us as a family. Remember, we have an exercise we carried out in this channel a long time ago. I think the other year, not even last year, the other year, talking about values for your family. And I remember telling you that anchor, have your values, have each letter of your family name to represent your value. Now, my family name is Oruebor. The arrow there, responsibility. The arrow there, respect. The arrow there, role model. We have two arrows. So the arrows there, we are a family, we are role models, we are responsible, we are respectful, we are the arrow there. So since we are a responsible family, we've had this conversation before. So it was easy for me to just say, okay, you know what? You do the crime, you do the time. I wasn't responsible for you not packing in your clothes. So I'm not going to be responsible for the crime. You know, that is it. So if you want your children to stop saying, oh mom, this is not fair, they stop pushing the boundaries, because that is what children do. Every time they are pushing the boundaries back and forth, if you want that to stop, what you want to do is to be very proactive. You have your family structure, you have your family constitution way before they even do the thing. Every now and then you have meetings with your children, you review some of these things, they have it in their head. So like I tell my children, it's your choice, it's your consequence. You already know these things we do in this family. So if you decide not to play your path, if you decide not to misbehave, to break any of the rules, there's a consequence. So I'm not the one giving the consequence. The consequence is actually a choice you are making as a result of the choice you have made. So you will stop over explaining when you are proactive in your parenting. The next one is, what do you do when your child says they hate you or you are the worst parent ever? This one is a simple thing. I read somewhere that if your child has never said they hated you before in parenting, that you're not doing something right. Because children, not children, everyone want to remain in our comfort zone. We just want to relax. We don't want to take responsibility, you know. And I tell my children that life is a lot of hard work, it's a lot of push. So, and you are the one that will teach them how to push themselves. So when you are teaching them to push themselves, it becomes, because nobody likes doing the extra. We just want to relax and enjoy our space. So when you are not pushing them or teaching them to push themselves, it becomes difficult. So if your child has never told you they don't like you or they hate you, you are not parenting. So when your child says you are the worst parent ever, don't even fall for it, because it's a manipulation. Don't even fall for it. They will get over it and they will thank you. They will bless you. I always say, that is, why would that even don't even, you know, for very many parents, fear of their children not liking them, fear of their children hating them is one of the reasons they indulge their children. They want their children to love them. They indulge their children. Like, seriously, I say to parents, see, if because you fear your children will hate you, you indulge them today, tomorrow they'll wake up and they will realize that you did them bad, you did them dirty, you don't play your duty, they will hate you even more. So which do you prefer? For them to hate you today and tomorrow, just 2 days, or for them to hate you for the rest of their lives? They will not even hate you for 2 days. It's just a couple of minutes. They will be angry. I hate you. Just a couple of minutes. After that, they are gone. So if you are setting rules and regulations, because of rules and regulations, they say they will hate you, let them say it. It's a bait, and don't click it. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it. No. Don't fall for that at all. As long as you have your vision, you have your goals, you stick to your goals and your vision, you know what you are doing, you are parenting intentionally. You realize that you are a child-centered parent, and you are not just a parent-centered parent. You are not parenting selfishly. It's not for your selfishness, rather for your child. Please, no. Don't fall for that. Okay. Number 7, the parent says that, how do I stop using guilt or shame to get compliance? You know, this one is quite common. Parents, guilt, shame, comparison. Because we want our children to behave, we force, we guilt trip them, we shame them, we compare them. Of course, that shame. You see your friends and mates are doing this, your mates are doing that. One of the reasons we actually do that is where we are coming from. Where we are coming from. That was what we learned to do. Remember, I said that parents don't have communication skills. They don't have negotiation skills. They didn't have some kind of skills. So they just did everything. They did everything they thought was good for us, including shaming. A friend of mine told me how the father went to her school one time. She was actually still bedwetting. I think she was in primary school and bedwetting. The father went to her school one time to embarrass her there. Sometimes we don't realize the impact of these things, because even adults, when you grow up, even she herself, she may not have realized the impact of that on her. Shame. So you asking already shows that you know that it is not right to guilt trip or to shame. So you want to do better. So what you want to do, like I said again, is for you to understand, be proactive, rather. Be very proactive. You don't have to wait till you want your child to do something for you to come up with consequence for them. That is one of the mistakes we make. We don't plan ahead. It is at the verge of wanting our children to do certain things that will now begin to think of, how do I make them do these things? We start manipulating, we start finding a way around it. But what happens if you are proactive? As a parent, especially when your children are becoming preteens and teenagers, you must have a family constitution. It's not negotiable. You must have a family constitution. You and your children must sit down and agree, talk about it. This is how I want to run this family. Right? This is what our family stands for. This is our identity. This is what our family should be doing. Everyone has a role to play. This is what you should be doing. This is what you should be doing. This is a vision for this family. This is how you are going to play your part in us realizing this vision. This is the part I am going to play in this vision. So this is it. At the end of the day, when you have all these things clear, I tell you, your children will not need you to tell them to do something. Now, even if they will not need you to always pressure them. Now, even if they forget, because they are human beings, sometimes they get distracted, they are playing, they forget. You will not have to go to the extent of shaming or anything. It will just be a reminder. So one of the things you want to first of all do is to realize that shaming, guilt tripping, they are not the way to go. Have that at the back of your mind, because when you have that knowledge, when you have the deep knowledge of the damage they can do, it will help you stay in check. The damage they can do. When you shame your child, it breeds low self-esteem. Low self-esteem. When you guilt trip your child, they become people pleasing because they feel guilty over things that they are not even responsible for. They feel guilty over people's wrong choices. They feel guilty. Sometimes they think, oh, they want to help. It's not they want to help. They actually feel guilty. They now carry the burden that is more than them. And people know how to take advantage of people. They will not know when to stop. They will have weak boundaries. And when you shame them, you are nurturing low self-esteem. As old as you are, you cannot even do this. You're not ashamed of yourself. See someone else is doing that. Comparison. You are nurturing low self-esteem, and it is going to sabotage your child. Very many of us grew up with low self-esteem. It is why we are kind of slow. We are not able to do what we are supposed to do. Even when we can, we know we can. We have the potential. Everybody is telling us, oh, you can do this. We do not feel good enough. We do not feel enough to do it. And guess what, as a parent, your desire is for your child to succeed. We all desire for our children to succeed. Yes. But guess what? When your child is burdened with low self-esteem, they will not succeed beyond a certain age. Especially the times we are. When I was telling someone the other day, we're still analyzing the issue of money point man, saying that very many Nigerian graduates are not employable. So he was saying he found it very offensive. He was very offended. That is not true. He was going on and on making his analysis. At some point, he was telling me that how many people has Money Points company reached out to? Nigerians are talented, they are brilliant, they are this, they are capable, and all of that. And I told him something. I said, how many people that are truly qualified, how many of them have the self-confidence? Because at the end of the day, the man may not be talking about, okay, he wants some people that are qualified, maybe certificate-wise. He may be ready to train people. But I was asking him, I said, how many people have the confidence to apply? I have seen people, I literally have to talk to people. They will say, okay, this is a company. They want XYZ position, but that's not my course of study. I will tell them, apply. Just apply. Let the company say no. You can never tell when the except is something that is professional, like medicine, law, maybe accounting. Those are super professional. But any other role, you can feel it. That is not professional, that is not engineering, you can feel it. Why don't you apply? Get there. Let the company say, what guts have you to send your application for this kind of position when you study XYZ? So some companies, they will even want to say, this person has got to. We said 5 years experience and she just finished NYC. What gut has she to come and apply? Some company will even want to see you because of your guts. I said that is what very many people don't have. We don't have that. It is why the Money Point man may be saying, they want 10 years experience. And many people who know that they can actually deliver on that job, they don't have 10 years experience, they will not apply. So I was telling him that is one of the issues we actually have. Low self-esteem. We are not good enough. Even when we are supposed to be good enough, we cannot project ourselves. We cannot market ourselves because we feel we are not good enough. So when you are shaming your child, you are actually packaging them and dipping them in low self-esteem. So at the end of the day, they fall short and you will say, the child has always been like this. He has always been a failure. He has always done less than his mate. No, he didn't do less than his mate. You just drove him into that. You made him believe less in his ability. Remember, I always say something that very many times what the children do, what our children do, not very many times, all the time, what they do don't really define them. What defines them actually is how we respond to it. That is what defines them. So you want to understand the effect of guilt tripping, the effect of shaming. You want to look at the end result of guilt tripping and shaming. Is that what you want for your child? If that is not what you want for your child, then let that guilt trip you all the time. Like, I want to push my child down the lane that is not meant for him. And then I told you, be proactive. Plan ahead. Don't wait for your child to do something, make a mistake before you now start correcting. It is why you need to go back. Anytime your child does something, anything you know your child does against you, go back and ask yourself, why am I reacting this way? Why does this thing get to me like this? Then you now go back to your childhood, go back to the baggage you are carrying. It may not always be your childhood. It can be the baggage you picked anywhere in your journey. Go back to your baggage and see. It is why we have the Unpack backpack. We have over 100 baggages we carry into adulthood that you want to sit down and check. I tell you, if you read that book, if you go through all those baggages, you realize where your dramas, where your triggers are coming from. So very many of them, our children are not, they are not guilty. Very many times they are not guilty. We just have our baggages we are projecting on them. I hope that answers that question. How to rebuild. Number 8 question is okay. Number 8 is, I'm doing the emotional heavy lifting while my spouse. Okay, this is about okay, this one is trying to say she and her spouse, I think it's a she, they are not on the same page. She is trying to be intentional. The spouse is not intentional. So at the end of the day, she feels that the children will, where did she put it now? The children will resent her. Okay, how do I handle the resentment? The children will resent her because she is not doing, the spouse is just doing anyhow. I get this, especially because this particular parent, I remember we had a few back and forth conversations, especially because the husband is very indulging, allows the children to get away with a lot of things. If you are in the Visionary Parent Academy watching me, you know that we have talked about this over and over again. Your spouse allows your children to get away with anything, and you are the intentional parent. You are trying to set strict boundaries, but your spouse is not on the same page with you. Now your children will feel, oh, your mom is too tough. Mom's zone is too much, because they are confused now. That says, yes, they are good to go. Because the children actually think they are doing the right thing. They think they are doing the right things. They think they are making the right choices. And dad is like supporting them. So that actually means they are doing the right things. The mom is not saying, no, this is not how to do it. They feel mom is a bad guy. How do you deal with this? One of the first things I want to say to parents, like I've always said, is that, see, your children will grow up and they will know the truth. As simple as that. Don't stress yourself. Just keep being the parents that you want your children to grow up and remember.
What will you celebrate at the end?
Keep parenting the truth, because your children will grow up and they'll know the truth. So what truth do you want your children to know? So keep parenting according to the truth. Now, apart from that, you want to deliberately bring your spouse to parent with you on the same page. We have a manual called Parenting on the Same Page. If you want that, you just send a message. How do you get that? And I will give it to you. But if you are ready to join us in the Visionary Parent Academy for 2027, so you can start making commitment to register, and I will give you that manual. It is Parenting on the Same Page. I cannot just tell you do one or two things now, your spouse will come to you on the same page, because your spouse is who they are, from where they are coming from. It takes them a long journey to get here. So if you want them to be on the same page with you, you have a lot of work to do. First of all, you have to realize that you are not of the same temperament. There are some temperaments that are naturally indulging, that are sanguine, they like fun, they like being happy. So they want their children to have fun and be happy. And the sanguine, they desire love and attention. So they will do anything for someone to love them and give them attention, including their children. If it means as a wife, demarketing you, they will demarket you. If you haven't gotten the book Understanding Your Child, at this point, you need to get my book, Understanding Your Child. It will help you talk about your own temperament, your spouse's temperament, and your children's temperament. So your spouse will do anything. If you have that sanguine of a spouse, for example, they are going to always want to be the happy parent, the fun parent, and your children will get to love them. However, one of the things you want to do is to have have same voice in your family. So you want to sit back again, you and your spouse, create your family constitution, sit down, begin to talk about your vision. Where are you going as a family? Where do you want this your family to go? You and your spouse must be on that page. You must have that understanding. You must have that agreement where you want your family to be. Now, it is based on that agreement. You are going to set rules, regulations. I keep saying rules and regulations as if you are going to define expectations. It is based on your vision as a family that you are going to define your expectations. Now, everyone has a role to play. Your spouse and you are going to define your rules, and then you are going to talk about family traditions, talk about a lot of things that will bring oneness to your family. Then number 9 is, how do I rebuild trust with my teenager after a season of being authoritarian? We also have another material on things you can do to rebuild trust, because it is super important, non-negotiable for your teenagers to trust you. I mean, if they don't trust you, how would they be able to talk to you? How would they be able to share with you? How would they be able to tell you what is going on in their lives? And if you do not know what is going on in their lives, how will you be able to show up for them when they need you? How will you help them find healing? How will you help them find closure? How will you help them answer questions that they are curious about? So you need to be able to have them trust you. So after being authoritarian, how to rebuild their trust is not one thing I will talk about again. It's a lot of things. Maybe if you go through this channel, you are going to see a major video dedicated to that. I shared a lot of things, and I have a material on it. If you need it, just send a message that you want a material on how to help your teenager rebuild trust, because they need to be able to trust you. I'll share the material with you. Because what many parents do at the end of the day, when you realize, oh, you have been too authoritarian, you now tilt towards being permissive. You now begin to indulge. So it is the same thing. You were authoritarian, you were super strict. Now you are not going to start indulging again your child. It is the same poor parenting. So you need to have a balance. And one way for you to do it is apologize to your teenager. You've been authoritarian. Be vulnerable. Let them know that you didn't know better. Now you know better. You actually want to do better. I need you to help me do better. And one of the things you need to do for me is, first of all, forgive me. Forgive me. And we'll sit down together and look at it. Okay, see what we have done so far. So you ask your teenagers, what are the things that I'm doing you don't like? And your teenagers, then you also tell your teenagers, these are the things you are doing I do not like. So we want to open a new chapter. So what is this new chapter going to be like? Both of you talk about it, and after talking about it, you now define the things you are supposed to be doing to make that new chapter realizable. You have a role, he has a role, so both of you, or she has a role, both of you come together and sit down, agree on so many things, do's and don'ts. Remember, we're talking about teenagers. When your child becomes a teenager, it's no longer force. You are now the parent, mentor. That is who you are. You are to mentor your child when they become teenagers. And you don't mentor through forcing. No, this time is gentle guiding, gentle mentoring. So both of you have to come from the angle of, okay, this is what I do that is not serving us. This is what you do that is not serving us. This is what we are going to be doing that will serve us. And in doing that, of course, you are not indulging your teenager. He's also going to have consequences. So if he chooses not to make good choices, he will still face the consequences of not making good choices. As simple as that. Finally, we say, What do I do? The parent said a parent said the truth of the matter is not every day you're in the mood to be intentional. It's not every day you're in the mood to be visionary. There are days that you are just not in the mood. I get that because we're not robots, really, as human beings. So no matter how intentional you are, no matter how visionary you are, there are days you are overwhelmed. So many factors will come to play. You'll be overwhelmed, you'll be stressed, you'll be so many things will just come to play, and you see yourself not being in the right frame of mind. Now, this is why what you want to do as a parent, first thing, because when you make that one mistake, maybe you snap out of anger, that is not your child's fault. If you snap once in a while, yes, your child can forgive you. You can make repairs, apologize and repair. But it is an issue when it is every single day, every single day. So the very first thing you want to do is to make sure that this not in the mood of yours is not every day. It is once in a blue moon. That is one thing you want to do. So you want to know how to care for yourself. What is that thing that will make you not be in the mood? Stress from work, financial stress, anything. So you want to make sure you know how to balance your life. Firstly, know how to balance your life. Non-negotiable. So after knowing how to balance your life, because that will help you reduce the number of times you are not in the mood. So if you know how to balance your life, so you'll not be in the mood, you'll not be every time. So just be once in a while. So you know how to balance your life. You have time to care for yourself, your self-care. You know how to set your priorities and all of that. When that is done, so every single time you see that you flipped, you made a mistake, you did something that you were not supposed to do, you want to know how to apologize and how to repair. It is non-negotiable. You must learn how to apologize and repair in your relationship with your child, because you are not a saint. You are going to make mistakes. So let not apology be far away from you. Be super intentional. And another thing you need to know is that give yourself this mantra. It is never an emergency. Always wrong with the mantra. Learn how to, instead of flipping at your child, learn how to pause. Learn how to defer. Learn how to tell your child, okay, we'll talk about it tomorrow. It is not an emergency. Learn how to just deliberately walk away from the face of an event, especially the ones that will trigger you to do something that you regret. Learn how to detach yourself. Learn how to disconnect yourself from your immediate environment. Your child is coming to maybe ask for something, is pressuring you. Just learn how to defer. Learn how to say, can we talk about this tomorrow? Learn how to say, I need time to process it. It doesn't have to be emergency. Maybe two children are quarreling and you are already stressed enough. Learn how to tell them, okay, you know what, let's everybody just stay there for now. Let everybody calm down. Even me as a parent, I also need time to process all these things. I need to calm down. Learn how to say things like that. Learn how to see your child as not an emergency, as not something you need to respond to now. It is that feeling of, if I don't do it now, then I must do it now. That is where the first problem comes in. Once you are able to conquer the thought of it's an emergency, then you are halfway gone in your being an emotionally regulated parent. Thank you so much for joining. We have come to the end of today. 10 questions we got, 10 most, should I call them most important or most recurring questions we got during the course of our Reparenting Yourself challenge. So if you have further questions, what you want to do is to leave them in the comment section. If you don't have any question, it's good, copy the link and share. Invite parents, let them know that something is here that can actually benefit them and transform their parenting. And you also want to ask us how you can join the Visionary Parents Academy. It's a very vibrant community. We have a lot of resources, and next month, starting from tomorrow, we are starting a new challenge, consistency. We are learning how to be consistent in our parenting, because it's one thing to actually unlearn, drop your baggages, and it's one thing to say, okay, I'm going to start a life anew, I'm going to do things differently. It's another thing to be consistent, because the brain is trainable. You are where you are because of how our brain was trained. Now you want to now train your brain by yourself to be better. And the way to train, they say, repetition is the mother of learning. So you want to do these particular things. You want to retrain your brain, and the ways you want to retrain your brain, you want to do them consistently for the next 30 days so that you can emerge a new you, a born again you, you know. So you want to emerge a born again you. So you want to do it consistently. So whatever you decide to do, you want to be consistent. You want to do it consistently. It is what we are doing in the month of July. So you want to join us. If you want to join us in the month of July, if you're not in the Visionary Parent Academy, it is super fine. Come and join us. Let's learn. Let's grow together. We have 4 coaches ready to learn in this journey with you. Thank you so much. See you next time. Bye-bye.